Greetings, sir and sirettes, and welcome back to From the Depths with me, Lathrix, and of course, welcome back to the Lathrixian Legion, now all gathered together for one final push against the Deepwater Guard, which is killing my frame rate, but even so, it is a lovely sight to see all of our currently functional craft all together in one place. We are only a couple of tiles away from the Deepwater Guard stronghold, and I plan today to remove that stronghold and begin construction of our structure to start gathering resource from non-oil containing resource zones. So we have a lot planned today, and I think we should just get started. There are a few more fights remaining before we actually get there, so let's just get there. But before we do, I should mention, I am still building up a much bigger force back at the original fortress. I am making 3 new supply craft and 5 new fireworks to be our true supply fleet, as after we destroy this structure, which should be either here or here, it's somewhere in this location, we've got quite a long distance to cover with our resources, and we do need to finally build a final area to start constructing our ships, to start constructing our vehicles for the future, which will most likely actually be in the location of the Deepwater Guard stronghold, as I feel that's only fair. I could try to capture it, and I think I will attempt to, but honestly, just destroying it today is the main goal. First battle of the day. Now, before we end up going all the way to the east here to completely obliterate the Deepwater Guard, I've just remembered there is actually a resource zone somewhere around here. Now, I can't quite remember where, and this is really showing the necessity of a satellite very soon, at least some form of detection system, a radar attached to something. Now, I'm either going to build a tiny little scout plane, which will be adorable, with the exact purpose of simply holding a radar nice and highly in the sky, or we are going to try and launch a satellite into space. Rather than simply building it in space, I would like to see if I could actually launch something into space, which then turns off its propulsion once it's reached a certain height. But that will be some other time. For now, oh, there's the resource zone. We're getting into a bit of a weird battle, and hallelujah, this thing has oil. Well, I'm afraid I do demand your oil, and through the peaceful act of glorious warfare, I will be taking it from you. A ransack, a flying squirrel, and a red tuna versus the original firework glory, which is the original 3 fireworks, which all are still the wooden variant, not the metal variant, so the weakest of the type. We have the firework metal, the firework original, and of course the new Firehawk. And now we have 2 of our corn supply vessels, which still need a name, amazingly. We even have a coffin nail in this fight. This will be a pretty easy fight, I imagine. Let us begin, and let's just, well, see how it goes. If I can actually spawn on the correct ship, that would be amazing. There we go. Well, that was fairly quick. Where's the little annoyance known as the flying squirrel? There we go. Hello, sir. It's already taken a fair bit of damage by the looks of things. Its middle is missing. How it's flying is a mystery, honestly. Although it doesn't seem like our flat cannons are fighting it. Oh no, flat cannons are now fighting it. Will we get hit soon? Here's hoping. No matter how much you make something against a flying squirrel, if it isn't a laser or a lure system, these things take forever. Oh, there we go. Thank you, missiles. Thank you very much, firework. Oh, that's why the flat cannons are still focusing on the ship. Would have been good if you focused on the thing I literally made you for, but that's fine. Goodbye, flying squirrel. We could try and capture you, but I've captured your old variant in the past, and I will forever remember that version, not the shielded version you are now. You've simply become just too evil for me to capture. No, flat cannons do not hit the firework. You didn't. Actually, you came nowhere near. It was a perspective issue. Okay, well, anyway, let's claim that resource zone for ourselves. Now, ooh, loads of damage done to the Atlas. One of the enemy ships must have been focusing on it. Didn't even notice. Although I do believe we do have repair systems on the supply vessel, so that should be dealt with very quickly. Okay. We'll just get over here and capture this, and I'll spawn in one of those little spinners which I made ages ago, the little fortress I made at the close to start of the series. Kind of highlighting the need for the building now, actually. Some may call this lazy, I call this time efficient. So I've attached a little oil refinery, which is semi-efficient, a little bit of oil resource storage, and even a few oil harvesters to the outside of the spinning fortress, literally being held there by a wooden stick. Now, is this aesthetically pleasing? No. Is this effective in any way, and can it be defended? Also no. But did it only take me 20 seconds? Yes. Did I say a single spinning top fortress? Well, I may have actually meant 6. So it turns out these are far cheaper than I originally thought they were. Here only costs about a half of a single supply ship, so that's pretty fantastic. These are extremely able to be put down and simply forgotten about. If they get destroyed, then oh well. However, this has made me think of an idea for the future. Why not use several small fortifications that are heavily defended rather than a single mega fortress? They'll be able to heal each other naturally using repair tentacles and wouldn't rely on things like sub-vehicle spawners for external healing, because of course repair tentacles are significantly better than repair bots, which you can actually put on the bot it's healing. So I think that's what we're going to do in the future, make a very highly defensive metal fortress which won't be much bigger than the spinning tops. But for now, these extremely cheap, extremely expendable fortresses will be sitting here draining the world of its resources, haha, so we can burn them in glorious warfare. Now that the battle is over, it's time to start rebuilding. The Deepwater Guard's main fortress is no more, and thus, currently, we are under no pressure from any faction, which is fantastic, at least in terms of building. We'll decide which faction to fight after this video, as I need to look into which faction is currently the most updated. I know several are still awaiting their major update, with the new types of engine, new weapons, advanced cannons, all sorts of goodness, but for now, we can just focus on building a time of peace, now that glorious warfare is over for at least a very short time. So what I've done is just made a little anchor to the center of the resource zone, or at least near the center of the resource zone, going all the way down to the bottom of the ocean. We're going to build up from there and just see just how well we can do this. One issue I did think of while building a structure to copy and paste is that the depth of the water will change depending on where we are, because of course the seabed may be lower or may be higher, varying on how close we are to landmass. This one is quite shallow, so what I'll end up doing is copy and pasting the top section and simply putting it onto a base I build whenever I need to build a new fortification, a new structure in fact. So let's get started. Let's just put down a basic foundation piece, just loads of stone covering a huge area, and then we can consider what to put on top. What I may do straight away is actually, if we still have it on the prefabs, which I think we will, aha! Put down a couple of silos, because we could start gathering resources and thus not need our supply vessels to go back and forth whilst we're building, considering this is one of our better resource zones. Resource gatherers, check. Resource storage, check. Basic foundation piece, check. Oil refinery, also check. And finally, a massive engine silo, definitely check. After reading up a little bit on the forums and various other places online, it turns out most of the enemy factions have at least now been updated to use the new engines and advanced cannons, although some factions have been updated more heavily than others. One of the factions which seems to be getting a bit of praise at the moment is actually the White Flyers, which has me very happy, because in the past the White Flyers haven't put up the biggest of fights. Most of the time they've either been a little bit outdated or simply not finished, but at the moment they seem to be a rather fearsome opponent. Now, this might not be the case entirely. I haven't read up for more than 15 minutes, but it seems to be the case upon reading the little bit I actually have. So if I am completely incorrect with all these statements, I will know by the next episode, and we'll be changing targets. But for now, I'm currently loading our two little cargo ships, making sure their flak weapons are completely online. Since they use belt-fed loaders, they do need some time to reload fully. And then we are going to be fighting against the White Flyers. Here's hoping they actually completely annihilate us. It's a bit weird to say, but I actually now have 6 of these supply vessels currently in backup, and if they completely annihilate us, all it means is that we can build bigger, better, and stronger. The Firehawk will look like nothing in comparison to the battleships and the new airships we will be creating. So White Flyers, let's get started. I'm still waiting for the weapons to reload, but I have just realised I haven't explained something. I'm not going to be building the structure in this episode, I've decided, purely because we've only just stopped building the fortress, which is essentially the same style of building. So I'll be building most of it off camera, and we'll be doing the interesting parts actually whilst recording. For now, just waiting to reload, and then we can actually get started. And so it begins. On the enemy team, we have a perforator, a retaliator, a tiny little thing there, a Stinger Mark III, a Ripper, a Spike, a Returius, I have no idea what that actually is, an Arrow, which I have seen before, another Spike, and something, again, absolutely tiny, called a Martyr. Now, I know what a couple of these are, but not all of them, which is a pretty good start, honestly, considering we're looking to see if they've been updated. Now, I have allowed the degraded mode to be turned on, so what we should see is a lot of our guns firing, but less trails and stuff. Although that's not very fun, it does mean we won't have as much lag as before, of course, after the initial few spikes, once everything loads in. Well, straight away, our firework seems to have been stunned by something, and yep, that was advanced cannons being shot from their battleship. Fantastic. Now, really, we are looking to be absolutely destroyed. As horrible as it sounds, losing would be the best outcome here, which is kind of ridiculous, honestly. Oh, you're firing at that firework. I was wondering where you were firing then. Lots of missiles on the enemy team, a ridiculous amount in fact. I would like to know where our guys are actually firing. They're definitely firing, just not sure at what right now. Oh, it seems like our flak is indeed going for the airborne target, taking it out of the skies. Okay, so we do have a minor victory here, which is very nice indeed. 2 of the fireworks still working away and actually flying, I think because that one got healed on the way down by the one actually sinking into the water. Our coffin now trying its best to be applicable to this fight. You may be a traitor, but you're our traitor. I think whatever's being fired at there may be their martyr. I didn't actually see it in action. I'm assuming it's some form of small ramming craft, at least that's my early assumption. Oh, a load of EMP hitting our flak cannon there. Tearing it apart, actually. That's going to completely offline our ship. That was a lot of EMP. I wonder which one of the enemy craft is currently using EMP rounds. And is it in the advanced cannon or is it in the missile? Judging by how that just happened, I'm assuming it's in the missile. We're not doing too badly. Mostly because of self-healing, and a lot of the enemy shots have been focused on our flyers and have simply been missing, which has been helping us a great deal. Oh no. Although you're healing each other, that's fantastic. Please don't ram into each other. I know I haven't programmed your AI to dodge each other, but please just do it. For me. Please. Just don't ram each other. That would be fantastic if you didn't. Flak cannon currently aiming at the flyer again. At some stage he got healed, which is very sad. Not really much else to say right now, just trying to watch to see if what gets destroyed first. We're doing a lot better than I expected, considering this is a strength 140 enemy fleet. It's getting dark now, so the screen will go almost black, because that's how this game goes, sadly. At least we have lights on our 2 supply vessels there, so we can see where they are. And the flares look very pretty as well. Although the enemy is weathering a lot of damage from our flak cannons, their inability to hit our flyers is really costing them. It seems that all of the enemies have been focusing almost entirely on our fireworks and not really getting the job done. Although many of them are now armed with the advanced cannons, some of them are still armed with custom cannons, which just notoriously don't do very well against random moving flyers, which the fireworks definitely fall into the category of. The missiles also being fired falling into the same issue of just not being agile enough to catch up with the fireworks, which is a bit of an issue really. A lot of the shells are being reflected and then exploding everywhere, which does look fairly cool, it must be admitted. The fireworks have just now been destroyed, the remains hitting the ocean floor now, and finally the enemy have turned their attention to the supply vessels, although the fog and the rain is making it very hard to actually see anything. In fact, I couldn't even see the fireworks die, I simply knew they had done at one point. The last 2 remainders. They did well, I'll admit they did a lot better than expected, especially considering the enemy have been at least mildly updated. I'm not sure if they're using the new engines, but definitely making use of the new cannons. Supply vessel still handling itself pretty well. The other supply vessel just under the water here. Oh, maybe those guns are EMP, the actual turrets themselves. Yeah, it's the turret, not the missile. Okay, learned something there. Custom cannons coming in from, honestly can't even see it, it's so far away in the fog. Oh, but apparently we have been hit, we are sinking. Under the water we go. This was a very drawn out battle. Oh, I think the other supply vessel has been removed. What's left now in the battle? Just the last supply vessel, and a huge cruise missile hitting the center, and a volley of the advanced cannon. So much EMP, but not that much damage, honestly. That's not how physics works. Well, that is at least, when it's falling apart. There we are. Eventually, the white flares were destroyed, although I will say they weren't as updated as a few posts led me to believe. So I'm not sure if I'll be staying with the white flares or moving on to someone else. If any of you know which of the factions are currently the most updated for me to fight, other than the Onyx Watch, purely because we've fought them so recently, even though I do know they have been updated massively. What a shame though, utter loss of our forces. I'll be making peace with the white flares at least for now, and figuring out all of that off camera. Thank you so much for watching, even though it has been a bit of a disjointed episode. I hope you have enjoyed. And of course, if you have, then likes, favourite, shares, comments, all that good stuff helps out me, helps out the channel, and most importantly, shows that From the Depths is a series you wish to see continued in the future. Thank you again for watching, and goodbye.